If you're concerned about your past filings not having filed, not being compliant, the first thing you need to do is become a member, because the minute that you're a member, we can look and see what's actually going on with your IRS account. And that 6 months notice can be the difference between, additional penalties and interest and not having the time to prepare everything correctly. So staying kind of one step ahead of the IRS, especially if you haven't had a perfect record, is a really, really important thing to do.
Kent Bowen, who is the manager of customer services at CryptoTaxAudit. Kent worked for some of the biggest names in the financial industry. If you've ever called up for help on your account, you've probably talked to Kent or one of his employees. There was a client we were working with, fairly large client, and you had discovered a hidden refund opportunity for him. I think it was in the neighborhood of $100,000 refund. You got it filed, and so that he could get a refund on that. Can you tell us some more details about that? Welcome, everyone, to the Clinton Donnelly Show. Today, I'm excited to talk to Kent Bowen, who is the manager of customer services at CryptoTaxAudit. If you've ever called up for help on your account, you've probably talked to Kent or one of his employees. So I'm really excited to have Kent here today. Kent, welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks, Clinton. Glad to be here.
I believe when I hire people I like to meet them, understand who they are. I met Kent over pizza. We were living in the same town, and we got together and talked about pizza, and we talked about finances. You told me about the amazing career you had in finances and the financial sector. And I asked if you never done taxes before. And yeah, you'd done taxes. You thought about taxes a lot throughout your entire career, as well as helping some people prepare their tax returns. You were retired at the time and looking to come back into the workforce in a way that made you feel satisfied. It just was natural hitting it up with you. I love talking to you, and you were interested in what we were doing. And we've had so much fun working together now. I think it's been about 4 years. So just amazing. Well, hey, tell us a little bit about yourself, some facts that, people that would interact with you would really be interested in.
Okay, sounds good. Well, yeah, it's been about 4 years now that I've been part of the team, and we have actually had a lot of fun. So it's been enjoyable. Prior to this, I was in the financial services industry in the US for about 20 years. So spent a lot of time reviewing tax returns, understanding clients' tax returns and how that affected kind of what we were doing in the financial services. So that was always part of what I knew and what I did. After those years, I spent about 10 years as a business owner in London. And I think both of those experiences gave me insight into kind of the challenges that individuals, expats, and businesses face when it comes to the complexity of taxes and staying compliant, and the scrutiny that you can face from the IRS.
Everybody should know that when Kent talks about himself, he's always like soft selling things. Kent worked for some of the biggest names in the financial industry in the US. When he says he's president of the company, he learned something. Yeah, he learned a lot through the school of hard knocks. Kent, what I've really enjoyed about working with Kent is he has such seasoned experience. Nothing gets him upset. He knows everything's going to work out. He makes me feel calm about everything, and he undersells what happens. I learned more about what Kent does by talking to everybody that works for him. I mean, I just put that out there. I'm very excited. You as an enrolled agent work with clients that call up, and from the customer service point of view, there's just a wide range of things that you do. People call up with problems, maybe tax problems. That is to say, they haven't been filing, or a lot of times we work with crypto investors who all of a sudden are getting conscientious about what they haven't been filing, or also people getting audited and having financial issues trying to pay their bills to the IRS. You are the front line for the chaos in people's lives when it comes to taxes. What lessons have you learned? What things do you enjoy most about this area?
Well, I think that what I enjoy the most about it is working with the clients and understanding and hearing their specific stories, because everybody's story and situation is different, and helping them. And I think that's one of the main reasons why people reach out to us, is because they can get a hold of somebody that can help them, that has the experience to help them and wants to. I talked to a new client last night who needed some help with her onboarding documents. And she mentioned that, one of the reasons she signed up was to do the initial risk review because she hadn't filed taxes since she got divorced. That was a difficult time in her life. And now she was ready to move past it and just needed somebody to help her to become tax compliant and put a plan together. And those are the kind of experiences and situations that I really enjoy helping clients with. It's let's put a plan together. Let's get you to the right place, and and we'll work on it together to get you there.
That is so true. I mean, at CryptoTaxAudit, we've done like well over 1,200 tax amnesty tax returns, and a lot of people come to us with a messy situation, and you bring people so much comfort talking to them about, well, how do we move from where you're at to where you need to be? And sometimes for some of these people, it's a financial issue. I would love to be current. I haven't been in the past, but I'm afraid that if I do get current, I'm going to create a tax bill that will bankrupt me. Everybody should be compliant with their taxes, but sometimes that transition has to be done in a structured manner to minimize people's risks. Are there other stories you can tell us about the types of support you've given people that have had, other debt problems?
Sure. Well, I think, like you said, Clinton, everybody's specific situation is unique to them. And whether it's, 1 year of not filing, or maybe it's a year of filing and not reporting cryptos, or, maybe they've just kind of gone off the rails or feel like their problem is really big. It's all about understanding what it is, developing that plan. Client can determine how quickly they want to move forward, and, understanding the risks, and then just getting them started. And I think, we had a client that came to us for an initial meeting and disclosed that he was behind on his taxes and hadn't filed for over 5 years. He, signed up, became a member. Then he took some time to determine when he was ready to move forward. And within that, while he was still kind of deciding that he was ready and it was the right time, because he was a member, we got a monitoring flag, and we were able to meet with him and talk through what that meant, that the IRS was potentially looking at his situation and potentially could send a letter asking where his prior tax returns were. We developed a plan to get him compliant. It took about 6 months to do that, and we were able to get it resolved before the IRS sent him a letter, which would have made it a very different resolution for him had we not. So I think that's a good example of what we can do for clients who aren't compliant. And then once they get compliant, is working through what is that IRS debt. So if it's substantial and they want to look at, the payment plans or options to pay the IRS less than they may owe, if that's appropriate, there's all kinds of things, but we just have to understand their situation and then, develop the plan and put the right offer to the IRS to make that happen.
Well, that really is an exciting story about how someone became a member of our defense plan, but they hadn't even filed tax returns, as you said, for 5 years. That shows how important it is. If you're in that situation, strategy number one is let's start monitoring. And then, as you said, an audit flag was raised by the IRS on one of their tax returns. We can see that 2 to 6 months before it happens. You put a plan in place, started getting the returns filed and prepared, which was obviously an expense he was trying to avoid. And then we transitioned him into a compliance situation before the audit began. And as a result, the entire audit never happened. The whole flag was taken off the account. That is actually an amazing success story.
Yeah, well, and I tell clients all the time, Clinton, is if you're concerned about your past filings, not having filed, not being compliant, the first thing you need to do is become a member, because the minute that you're a member, we can look and see what's actually going on with your IRS account. And that 6 months notice can be the difference between, additional penalties and interest and, not having the time to prepare everything correctly. So staying kind of one step ahead of the IRS, especially if you haven't had a perfect record, is a really, really important thing to do.
Now, I know you had told me a couple weeks ago that there was a client we're working with, fairly large client financially, and you had discovered a hidden refund opportunity for him. And I think it was almost in the neighborhood of $100,000 refund. You got it filed, and so that he could get a refund on that. Can you tell some more details about that?
Sure, sure. Well, with the monthly monitoring that we do, one of the things that we look at in taxpayers' accounts is if they've paid any penalties that are eligible for what is called a first-time penalty abatement with the IRS. And so we actively look at that, report it to the client on their monthly IRS summary report that we send them. And then we simply, and with the client's authorization, contact the IRS and ask to have that penalty waived. We do that every month when we send out the monthly reports. Clients will contact us and say, hey, what is this first-time penalty abatement? And we're able to take care of those for clients quite a bit. And can be as a few $100 up to as you mentioned, $100,000 for that client.
If you never had $100,000 of penalties, you're not going to get $100,000 refund. Right?
No, it's not a free gift. It's not a tax rebate.
But this is something you spent once and you kind of wish it never happened. There are situations where we can get big refunds. I know I've done it for one client at $73,000, another one at $15,000. And I had done some work a couple of years ago. I analyzed our database, and I found that roughly about almost a third of our clients that we bring on board have some sort of hidden refund opportunity. It could be a refund like that, as you described. It could also be a situation where maybe a refund check was sent to you, but never got cashed. And so the IRS is sitting on it. They have no obligation to tell you about that. So because we are proactive, we look at their accounts, we can pick up on these things. So if somebody is a member and they are getting a monthly status report and they have, like, you want to talk, have a consultation, they'll probably talk to you, right? Or someone on your staff.
Yeah, most likely. Yeah. And the thing about the penalty abatement is it's something that the IRS doesn't tell individuals. They don't disclose that you're eligible for this. So many people will have an issue with the IRS, pay the penalty, and not even know that they can get that penalty waived.
Oh, that is so big. That is so big. Recently, we working with Trustpilot to make sure that we can capture the level of satisfaction of the clients we have. And your staff handles that and interacting with clients on a daily basis, whether they're audit defense or just regular tax prep and gain calculation clients. What's been your experience in terms of how it's changed your viewpoint, how you engage with customers as you think about the fact that we're going to try to get Trustpilot reviews from everyone?
Well, I don't know that it's kind of changed how we deal with clients. I mean, I think treating clients with respect and understanding that their situation is their own and that they're really in control of it, I think has really kind of been part of the ethos of the company. And we appreciate all the clients that we do business with. We enjoy interacting with them, and I think that comes across to clients. So I think just asking them for a Trustpilot review afterwards is just a natural part of the process.
That is good. Are there any other lessons learned that you've experienced as you've grown in this field of tax preparation, tax resolution, thoughts that you might want to share with listeners?
Some of the things that I've learned from working with clients and seeing and understanding what they go through when they're dealing with an IRS situation, I think a few kind of tidbits would be, sometimes it's hard to get a hold of somebody at the IRS, and sometimes that might not be your best option. And that's why having representation and a service like we offer, because we have the expertise and experience in dealing with the IRS and know, kind of what options you may have that the IRS may not disclose to you. I think clients really are looking to get an answer that makes sense to them and looking for a team or someone to explain things in a way that they can understand, and they don't always have that same experience with the IRS. I think, prospects and clients really struggle with getting clear information and an understanding on how to report their crypto activity and when. I think, and this, Clinton, that the coin-to-coin trades and reporting those is one of the biggest mistakes that we see taxpayers make, and can, really, cause them underreporting issues and potential IRS penalties and interest and audits because of that. And so I think having the service that we do and having the resources to answer client questions and get them the clarity that they need to file their taxes correctly is a big benefit to them.
It's great. Thank you very much for that suggestion, Kent. And as we wrap it up, I just want to tell everyone I really enjoy working with Kent. If that wasn't obvious, he's very positive, supportive. He's encouraging. He's a real team player. He leads other people into, bringing out the very best in their work experience and contributing the most and feeling valued. And I personally am I'm really pleased, Kent, that you handle customer service. I have no reservations. People call and talk to you. I know it gets done right. And if there's ever an issue or a complicated thing, you bring it up to me or the other professionals in the company. You're such a team player and everybody wins. And I really appreciate you being on this interview and working for us. Thanks,
Clinton. Well, I think, we're here to help. And I think we try to do that in a way that makes it easy for clients. And I think, I think clients appreciate that. And so it's always a pleasure to deal with them and hear their appreciation and thanks and get them to a place where they, feel better about it. So it's a lot of fun.
Well, and I think when you treat people like humans, you treat them with respect and you have a mutual relationship, it's just exciting. Most people think taxes are boring. I personally think taxes are sexy, and I know you feel the same way. So thanks very much, Kent, for being on the show. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Clinton.
Welcome to the Clinton Donnelly Show, where we explore how taxation and regulations of cryptocurrencies affect your daily life as an investor. Clinton has a law degree in international financial regulation. He is an enrolled agent and certified as a cryptocurrency anti-financial crime specialist. He has clients in 71 countries. He is one of the top experts in crypto taxation in the US. This show is sponsored by CryptoTaxAudit.com, the income tax experts for US crypto investors. Are you frustrated with using online crypto tax services to calculate capital gains? Are you a high-frequency trader, DeFi, NFT, play-to-earn, or whale investor? Nothing is too complicated for the experts at CryptoTaxAudit.com. Are you frustrated that your accountant doesn't understand crypto taxes? Crypto Tax Audit uses a proven, bulletproof crypto tax return methodology to prepare a tax return that doesn't attract the attention of the IRS. Crypto Tax Audit also offers an exclusive audit defense membership service. It's like car insurance for your tax return. If your return gets selected for an audit of crypto reporting, they will defend you at no additional charge for the entire life of the audit. No one offers anything like audit defense membership. Go to CryptoTaxAudit.com to learn more and schedule a private tax consultation now. The opinions expressed in this show are not legal advice. Tax and regulations are complicated. Your situation is unique, so you should always consult a tax professional.